Hi guys, so today I am taking off and reapplying. I have done my left hand. I've shortened them as well because, yeah, they were doing my treeing. And that is this, which I'm going to be reapplying. I just thought I would show you the before and afters I'm doing. So it is time to take off this lovely design because, let me just grab the little end, here we go. As you can see, if I push back a little, these are fairly grown out. So the e-file I'm using is going to be my CJP Whizzer. And I'm just going to use that to pull the bulk down a bit. Now, I prefer the safety bits which have the round top. Not so much for when I'm doing this hand, but when I'm doing my non-dominant hand, I can struggle a fair bit. And there's been more than once when I have zapped myself. So a lot of people have personal preferences, but I like to go in with the coarse bit, get the bulk of it off. One second. Get the bulk of it off, and then I go in with a medium to fine bit. Sorry, I am just popping my mask on, and hopefully the noise from that isn't too irritating. So I put a wipe over that to actually catch all the dust onto the wipe. Can you see that? Am I in shot? Yes. All that beautiful artwork. Now, to be fair, this gel's quite thin, so I could have probably gone straight in with the finer grit, but we'll get that off. The finer grit also allows me to get right in near the cuticle without me worrying about nicking myself. I hope you can hear me through the mask. If not, I will voice over. It's just with my chest being the way it is at the moment and the asthma acting like a shit. I'm better off wearing the mask while filing. Technically, yes, you should anyway, but to be perfectly honest, I don't actually like them. Do I wear one when doing a client? Yes. Do I wear one when doing my own? Generally not. But this files through so lovely. It's a shame to get rid of that design, actually. And I'm actually proud of how long it's lasted. I don't exactly look after my nails very well. I forget to cuticle oil. I'm a rough ass. Now, I have recently tried the Licente fusion gels, and they stayed on me really, really well. But I wanted to try the hard gel, so I gave that a little go, and that new Sculpt Pro is absolutely divine, which I will show you when I start applying it. So pop that to one side, and this is what I am left with. 1 second. I can't see nothing on top of that phone screen because apparently we decided not to suck today and just squirt the dust everywhere. How nice. So, files, my dears, files. I am just going to gently shape these a little more the way I want them before I put some gel on. And then I'm going to go in with the prep. I don't do all of my shaping beforehand because you can finish file with the new prep and file afterwards, which is what I personally prefer to do. And look how long these have gotten, so I just want to shorten these out a little. And because my fingers are so crooked, I actually have to rest my fingers forward and file them, because if I was to file them looking at them this way and they look straight, then when I turn them this way they are going to be hell crooked. And I just want to mute that tip a little. It really is quite the novelty having longer nails. Okay, so e-filing these has made them quite smooth. So this is a 100/150 and not on the natural nail. Just on the parts with the gel, I am just roughing that up and giving that new gel that's going to go on something to stick into. Because it cannot go onto a shiny surface, the same with any gel. It will not stay there, it will lift. Doesn't need to be filed perfectly smooth because I'm going in with a whole new layer. I just need some little grippy bits in there. Okay, so I'm going to rest on this since it's sat here. So first of all, we're just going to go in with our cuticle pusher. Now, if you can see, I'm not like shoving it back. I'm kind of lifting it up slightly to slide that under and make it a pocket. I'm hoping the camera can see said little pocket. And this is so we can clean out any debris from underneath said little pocket. Now, I am quite lucky in the fact that my cuticle is generally, I don't know what you'd call it, loose. It doesn't adhere to my nail plate like a lot of them do. So as you can see, look, can you see, like I can just flick that up and there's like a pocket under there. Some people's adheres quite a lot to the nail plate. I don't know whether it's because every time my nails are wet, I mean, like when I've had them in the sink, oh, see, you can see better with this one, look, see, like a little lift up. Yes, every time my nails are wet, I tend to do a lot of things. I tend to push them back, and it just, you know, while they're wet, because it keeps them nice and mobile. So now I am putting in this tiny little flame bit, and this is in Nail Lab 1. These little black bits, by the way, are freaking awesome. They're from Katie Barnes. So let me make sure I have it the right way. I do. And we go down to, I like it on 5 personally. So I'm going to go around 1/2, and then we will go around the other half. Let me move me wires. Those old telephone wires can be a pain in the arse. So we're just lifting that up. Now I'm not digging into the nail. Let me see if I can get you a good angle. I'm laying it flat against, and I'm kind of sticking the tip in that little pocket and hooking it up. So it's not so much I'm grating the nail plate, it's that I'm getting all in that pocket and getting all the debris from underneath. These bloody wires, honestly. So, and I'm going to do one half of the nail and then the other. Right. Are we ready? So, and you don't want to swipe in big movements, you want lots of little movements, and get right in those corner pockets and down those sides. I have music on in the background to stop Chippy being a jackass. I did put the doggy channel on, but apparently we're back at the dogs now. Even on the TV. Go figure. I have been watching the old Carry On films today. They're all playing, I think, with it being Easter. Now, there are, I want to say hundreds of different cuticle bits you can use. This is, I prefer this shape. I do have some of the blunt ones, like the Erin bit from Katie Barnes, but I haven't tried it yet. I feel like that would be good for somebody with more stubborn cuticles. And for me, I don't actually have a lot to remove. So, give those a brush off. Now, when I was taught in college, we were taught, after removing cuticle filing, anything else, file down the nail, you know, from the cuticle to the ends, to prevent pushing dirt and dust back into the cuticle pocket. However, watching a couple of other educators, they pull back towards the cuticle this way. And I honestly could not, I couldn't understand why, because, you know, I wasn't taught that way, basically. But it turns out it actually makes more sense, because if you pull the brush this way, you're then closing that cuticle pocket you have spent all that time opening. So if you brush it back, you're still pushing that cuticle back, and the bristles will still get the bits out. It's all those little tips that I love, and you're like, why was I not taught this? I've been qualified for, I don't know, yeah, pre-COVID, so a while, but this wasn't stuff I was taught, and I just can't understand why. So I have the etching tool. It's a black one. This is one of my nail order ones. I have a few. I actually got one a couple of years back from AliExpress that I absolutely loved. I don't need to trim my cuticles, so I'm not doing that. I'm just using this to etch gently. I'm not pressing really hard. I'm just rubbing to make sure everything is unsmooth. But these are awesome tools. It saves on your nail files as well, and the little sticky bits are awesome. So I don't need to cut my cuticles because they're fairly well trimmed and in good shape. Make sure you get down those side walls. I have a very strong C-curve on a couple of my fingers, so I really need to get into those side walls. But I have also found it is honestly best sometimes to trim the cuticles after a service. So I know that may sound absolutely bloody nuts, but my reasoning is, and the reasoning of the other techs that I've seen do it, is this. So you do a nail service. After this nail service, especially if it's extension, so this doesn't really apply to gel polish, just extensions and stuff, you then have to file your extensions, you know, finish file and tidy them up and everything else. And while doing that, you are running your file around that cuticle area, which if you have trimmed beforehand, you have just, you know, freshly scalped. It's delicate skin, no protection on it anymore, and cuts and things can happen, or you can just end up with really sore cuticles. However, if you do your service, do your extensions, do your filing, then trim, you have your cuticles there as a barrier. Just a thought. Okay, so looking, there are just a few little shiny beggars that need to do one. There we go. And then I am wiping off. Now I have all manners of prep sprays, but this one is the new prep. I got it when I went to the experience day, and I thought generally all the prep solutions were pretty much interchangeable and the same, so I generally just used, you know, one type for all. But it was pointed out to me that some prep solutions contain different amounts of different chemicals that work best for making that particular product stick and adhere, you know, kind of like a primer. So some might work against what you're trying to put on your nails. So you should always double check what is actually in them. So this one is alcohol based because that is what works best with the new prep. So that is on there. We'll be on to the next part. Okay, so these are what we have, and I have my couple of brushes. So this is a base. Now it can go on with the brush in the pot, which is perfectly brilliant. Let me just sort out my sizes. Sorry, so I have an oval 6 with a little, I tipped it purple so I know what's what. That is my gel. I have a fine liner for dragging my edges, and this is my oval 4, also a bone one. These are just from Temu, but they're honestly my favourite gel brushes currently. So you want a little bit of base on there, and we'll go in with the thumb first. So, and you just want to, can you see that motion? I'm proper scrubbing that into all the little nooks and crannies. So this stuff has, this is a gel base with fibres in it, so like a fibre gel. And this acts like double-sided sticky glue, and it gives the gel something to stick to. I'm going to go over all the nails, although I did do that earlier and then ended up touching a bunch of them, so let's cross the fingers I'm not such a jackass this time. But just make sure you give that a really good scrub in. Most hard gels nowadays use the use bases. Some of the builder gels actually do as well. Now these have a fantastic builder gel. I have a couple of bottles of it, and I even have the hard gel in a bottle, the new Sculpt. But this is new Sculpt Pro, which is ever so slightly thicker than that one, and in a pot. So when I was taught, the only hard gel actually on the market, or that we learnt with anyway, was Cal gel. And I enjoyed it, but back then I found acrylic easier to work with. But honestly, it is honestly few and far between when I even pick up my acrylic brush anymore. It really is. I love acrylic. I think I'll always love acrylic, but gel doesn't smell. It files quicker. Honestly, apart from the bollock of constant curing, I'm actually preferring it. I really am. It's just, for me to do personally, it is a quicker service. I know a lot of people find acrylic quicker, but I am so out of practice with that. The last time I did a set on my daughter, I think it was a month or so ago. I was quite busy, so I laid the acrylic for her, and I left her to file and design it. But good Lord, what a faff to put that on. I mean, it's supposed to be like riding a bike, but honestly, if you don't practice, you lose it. I'd probably fall off a bike at this point too. God knows how many years it is since I've actually been on one. But definitely out of practice. So this is the lovely nude shade that I'm wearing here. So what I'm going to do, even though I left some on my brush purposely from earlier, is I'm just going to put some on my brush and work that through so my brush is nice and moving. If your brush has gone a little stiff, that is the perfect thing to do to it, to get it to move its arse and behave. So we will do the thumb first. So to begin with, I'm just going to take a little baby, as you can see against my nail, this isn't a big brush either. I'm just going to take a little baby bead, okay, maybe a little less of a baby bead and a little bit bigger one. I just want a thin layer to go all over that nail. As you can tell with me filming and not voiceovering, I have a quiet house. And I'm just gonna cure that one. Okay, you do not need to cure after that first skinny layer. It is just my personal preference. So I'm putting another thin layer on, and this is because gel sticks to gel. So do you ever notice how if you have a pot of gel paint or a nail polish ball and you have that little bit of gel that leaks, but then every time you open the pot it's like that leak's got bigger? It's because it's attracted to each other and it will shift its butt up and join the rest of its little friends. So this makes it easier to move it. So I'm just moving that around and down. I'm not going all the way to the very edges of my nails because this isn't an overly runny gel, but it will still self-level and move. Let me just pop that down and grab my fine liner. So as you can see, that is actually mostly self-leveled. I'm just pulling it up, oops, sorry, into these tiny little cuticle pockets. And into them side walls. But look at that. I'm going to flip it because it's habit for me to flip it, but honestly, it's pretty damn self-leveled. And there we have it. And that's going to cure. This is another reason why I like working with that gel, because it really doesn't move a lot. Well, it moves, but you know, it's not a jackass. Some gels I've tried have been very runny or I've struggled. I've also struggled with adhesion. So even when I'm following, you know, exact prep and exact rules, or at least to the best of my abilities anyway, because I think you can only get so far with you know, like descriptions on the leaflets they send with the gels, or the websites, or even videos. I think unless somebody is physically there showing you and guiding you through it, I think sometimes you just don't, sorry, I was just checking that out. I think sometimes you just don't quite get it right. I am losing my marbles. There we are. So I'm just going to wipe this one off, because God knows I'm going to end up touching it and then sticking myself. Yeah, so a lot of gel brands I've struggled with adhesion. So the Fusion Pro by Lucente didn't struggle with that. I didn't even have a guide. So the first time I got some of that, it was in the nail mail box. And the fact that it actually stayed on my hands mystified me, because I assumed I was one of those girls that gel is just not made for. Some people really cannot, it's not about prep or brands. Some people can really just not wear some products. And I always thought I was just one of those girls that come hell or high water could not wear gel, until I tried that and it stuck, and I'm like, holy shit. And then I got the builder from these, and it was the same. It stuck there. So they always say like bad workman blames his tools, but sometimes it really does come down to compatibility with brands and products. So I mean, I love Dorota Pelica, love her stuff. I bought one of the kits to try the fiber gel because I love the colours she uses. I thought I was getting everything right, but would that stuff stay on me? Would it? Knackers. And it drove me insane, because I'd spent this money on this product. I was watching all these videos, I was practicing, and it was popping off me. I'd be lucky if I got a week, super lucky if I got a fortnight, but most often than not I did not get a fortnight. IBD stuck, but I swear to God that stuff would survive the apocalypse. That stuff seems to stick to anything and anyone. But I tried like cheaper brands like Silka. I tried more expensive brands, and I honestly, it was downheartening, because at that point it was easier from home to be doing something that did not smell like acrylic, but gel just wasn't working for me. And there we go. That one needs a teeny bit more of an apex. I'm just gonna flip it. But yeah, but this stuff is awesome. It stays its butt exactly where I put it, with the absolute basic minimal of interference, if any. I just have to, with this, I know I look ridiculous, I'm wiggling my finger from side to side. So my fingers, I said earlier, didn't I, they're crooked as hell. So unless I wiggle my fingers to check it from all angles, it could look perfectly straight. I will take it out of that lamp, and when I go to file it, all the gel will kind of be over to one side of the nail, and there'll be barely any on the other side. And it's not because I've moved it in the lamp, it's because I have crooked as shit fingers and they don't sit still. But there we go, I'm ranting, aren't I? To the next one. I've not even decided if I'm going to put a design on these yet. I keep seeing designs that I want to do and want to try, but I haven't made up my mind. I really enjoyed gel hair. I really enjoyed having the naked nails, to be honest, with the tiny flowers. I think I might go that way again. I saw one today and it was a nude nail, you know, like these, and then in the middle there was like, you know, like the white stamp pattern, so like stamp shaped And then she'd done like a little chick and a little bunny and a little carrot and a little flower, and it was really, really cute actually. You know, one on each finger for like Christmas, not Christmas, geez Louise, for like Easter stamps. It was actually really, really adorable. Okay, so that one got a little extra gel on that side because I had to take a little off there. So where it had started to grow out, I had started to, you know, do the good thing and pick. So I had the tiniest little bit of lift in there, which needed gelling out. Okay, let's have a looky at you. You look slightly evil. You look a little lopsided there, actually. Right, so let's twist my finger that way a little, because it's pulling to this side. So that made it behave a little better? Yes, it has. So this finger is quite the pain in the arse because I really have to pull down to actually get in all the nooks and crannies. I have some clips somewhere. It wouldn't be a video for YouTube if I didn't lose something, right? I got some clips in a Temu haul, which were great for slipping under your fingers to pull the skin back. And I tried them and I actually like them. I don't know if they'll fit in my lamp. They're a little bit big. They could also be used as pinching tools. Oh, and I was playing this morning as well with that little cutie. Needs a little work. I'm not hating him. No, I'm not. I apologise for the S Club 7 in the background. I don't want to have to get up and change the TV channel. I don't know if you can hear it, but I most definitely can. I have the music channel on, it's playing 90s and noughties. So, for those of you that love gel, hard gel, what are your favourite brands and why? I'm curious how some of you have found some of the others, you know, like longevity wise. Like I said, I tried a few and I'd struggled with them. And the same for acrylic, I suppose. I have tried a good couple throughout the years, and I definitely have ones that I prefer. And I'm curious. I mean, so I trained with NSI, but my tutor had us try glitter bells because she preferred that, so I tried that. I mean, this is like years back. So we went CSI, glitter bells, NSI, geez Louise, NSI, glitter bells. And then, because I was low on funds at that time, I was looking on eBay for cheap secondhand acrylics, and I came across Glitterama, which is now EL Nail Systems. I quite liked those. I think my favourite core powder for them was Dainty Doll. And I really liked that they did 5-gram pots. So those 5-gram pots of the coloured powders, and even the cores, were like $2.99 a pot. So if you don't want to spend all that money on a huge pot of acrylic powder, you could just buy a tiny pot. So I ended up with about 60 plus colours very quickly, because they always had sales on. And then I discovered CJP, and when I went onto their acrylic, it was like something just clicked. The struggles I'd had with some of the others with retention and stuff, I didn't with them. It was a slightly drier system than I was used to with the EL Nail Systems, but I really liked it. But also by that point my prep was probably just better in general. So when I first started, I think I did what a lot of people out there do, and I tried to run before I could walk. I wanted to learn all the newest art trends. I wanted to try this fancy product and this fancy gizmo. Never really... My prep was good, but I never really mastered my prep. I never made sure it was perfect. And you cannot build a house with shitty foundations, to put it bluntly. I had these nails with what I thought at the time was the bee's knees in nail art. Although when I look back, I have definitely come a long way. I had bad foundations, so those nails were... I was lucky to get a fortnight from them. I mean, when I first started out, I think I was like charging £15, £20 just to get customers in. But the customers weren't coming back because my foundations weren't solid and my house was crumbling. Or in this case, my nails were crumbling. They weren't staying. They were they were slightly crooked. It wasn't good. Let's put it that way. So any advice I always give when people are on like the Facebook pages or TikTok or anywhere else and they're new techs and they're asking for the advice, the first thing I always say is to build your foundations and make sure they are strong. Because you could have the Mona Lisa of artwork on those nails and they could look absolutely stunning, but nobody's going to pay that price or come back if they don't last as well. A stunning piece of artwork is good, brilliant even, but not if it only lasts 5 minutes. People want to admire them for a little longer than that. So over the years I have practiced my prep, taken random classes or courses, bloody fingernail, whenever I have seen them listed, just to get better at that. And it has taken a while, and it's taken finding my own routine, not necessarily everybody else's routine, to get there. But I'm finally at a place where I can do a set of nails and I can look at them and I know those suckers are staying on. Get in there. They are staying on for weeks. And I mean weeks. Which is what you want. You want value for your money, and it's not value if it doesn't stay. A lot of that was let me wipe that off. So one of the nail mail boxes a while back was the new build box with the nail lab, and they had the new build on it, but what came with it was like a mini course from Paulina, and it was an in-depth prep course, like a back to basics, and honestly changed my life when it came to prep. It was fantastic. It made me think about things differently, definitely made me do things differently, and it made my prep a whole lot better, even more than it was so before. I also found that Katie Barnes, she does nail tools, you've probably seen her as well. She also does classes, and she does master classes, and she does everything from the basics to prep to competition packs to get you ready for competitions and things like that. She has a ton of courses, and they're actually, you can also pay Klana and Calliope. They're really good value, but also every now and again she does offers, and in these offers you can get some of these classes and master classes for £5 and £10, which obviously awesome. So one Black Friday, the entire lot of courses went down to like a tenner. No, they were a £5, and you bet your ass I ordered a load. And she did like, we'll do the thumb test, she did like a back to basics prep course. Yeah, she did a back to basics. No, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, she had a back to basics prep course, so I did that. I ordered the classes for form fitting. I really struggle with that. I still really struggle with that, to be honest. For me personally, the classes are so to the point and so step by step, they're awesome, but for me personally, I think it's just something I need to be taught in person. For some reason my course did not cover form fitting, and I think it did my particular class that year a disservice. These don't need refining, it is just habit, and I want to make sure the cuticles are tucked right in, so as usual I'm going in with a foam buffer for that. But I downloaded courses on form fitting. I have courses on different acrylic and gel styles, so she does them by shape, so like acrylic ballerina, acrylic stiletto, sharp square, and then she also does them for hard gel. So I ordered those. I ordered the fancy shapes like knife and dagger and competition stilettos. She does pink on whites, but you name it and it's probably on there. She even does a pedicure and a social media set, and it's lifetime access, so some of them I actually haven't accessed yet. They're just sat in my class box waiting for me to go through them. But it's a great way to get your continuous learning, because with nails there's always something new. Okay, so I have finished buffing those. The phone rang and I've been wrong one, and I have been on the phone, so I have forgotten entirely where I left off, and now my light's playing silly buggers. But I have filed them. I'm just going in with a little more of the new prep. I'm just getting my fingers right in those little creases. So no real filing, it's literally just the buffer and this one just to go around my cuticles, just to make sure they're in. And as you can see, they're not, I mean that one always looks thicker because of the arch on it, but they're not supremely thick whatsoever. They're just lovely. So we just need to top coat my little suckers, and the that is that. And then I will figure out the nail art. I'm going to top coat before the nail art, just because I normally do the nail art with oh, that was close. That's the base coat. It's because it says clear, but what I need is glossy top. So I tend to do my nail art with tag-free gel paints on top of my top coat. And plus, that means I can actually change it more regularly, although I haven't this time, because then I can just buff off the design that's on top of the top coat, reapply my top coat, and change my design. Right, I'm going to cure the thumb first, because the thumb has a tendency to wriggle and then drip the polish. I did think about cat eye nails, because I got some beautiful foils for, have you seen like the cat eye nails with like the foils on top? But I'm really struggling to do them. I had a couple of practices. I think I showed them. I don't know if it's a video I've posted yet or one that I still haven't. But I'm really struggling with them. They are a bloody disaster. And I'm struggling with the foil gel glue. So this one was always my go-to. Cheap one, but always worked really well. Maybe because the bottle's 3 or 4 years old now, but is it working? No. My other one is this. Also an old bottle. Am I struggling with it? Yes, I am. The full design is not coming off, and it's cheesing me off a lot. So you see, in a recent Temu order, I got some of these. Can you see these? They're right, well, obviously you can see them. They're right in front of the camera. There's all sorts of different ones. I just have the pink ones out because that's what I tried with. So there's like a background of cat eye, and then there'll be like a big flower, you know, just like floating over it, and it'll look really, really lovely. And I purposely picked huge flowers so they'd cover like the whole nail, although these are slightly bigger than I thought they'd be, but they work perfect. But I cannot get them to come off in one piece, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't know whether it's because I'm using old foil glue gel, which I don't know if that'd make a difference, because I mean it's tacky regardless, or if I'm just doing the foils wrong, because admittedly I own lots of them, but I don't have that much practice actually using them. I usually use them for random, really? I usually use them for random little bits, not trying to pull off an entire solid design. And it's kind of kicking my ass. So if any of you are foil queens out there, please Jesus, give me a hand and some tips. I would greatly appreciate it, or even recommend some decent foil glues, because I am willing to try new products at this point. It's a design I am seeing everywhere, and it is one I want to do. I don't have to master it, but by God, I want to at least get one solid, not even perfect, just mostly passable, and go at it, so I can have done it. Not necessarily to even put online, just for me. I like to have a little box of random nails, and they're all designs I've seen, really loved, and I've tried and tried and tried until I've got it, and I just like to add to my box. So eventually I'm going to put them in one of those nail tip books, or in something else. So for the clients that want a full set, or you know, that one nail that just has that something on it, I want the book for that, so they can look through these designs rather than sending me pictures or coming in with a design I have to rack my brain trying to figure out. I want to actually be able to offer them something I know I can do, rather than them come in and then getting substandard. Okay, and there we go, and that is that all done. So any tips or tricks for those foils, super appreciated, because it's honestly doing my head in. And thank you all for staying tuned and watching, guys. Stay tuned for more videos, and I will post up some pics when I figured out what artwork is going to end up actually going on these in the end, since at the minute they're just plain little piggies. So thanks, guys. Bye.